Hey guys, Savannah Bell here with My Massage World, and I am here today with Reid Peterson, and we are going to talk digital stuff for your massage practice. So, Reid, tell us a little bit about you, kind of your background, what you do for massage therapists, and all that good fun stuff.
Well, thanks, Savannah. And hi, My Massage World community. I'm happy to be here and happy to help in any way I can. Well, a little bit about me. Let's talk about beliefs. So I personally believe that massage is one of the most underrated professions available. And that's a strong claim. And the reason why is because think about the amount of transformation that can actually happen in a 60 or 90-minute session. It's just phenomenal. And I just think that massage therapists work so hard. They put so much of themselves into what they do. And at the same time, they ask for very little in reception. And so I've put it upon myself to help almost like shift the perception from consumers who think of massage as something that will help them relax, something that will help them just like the fluff and buff, pamper myself, and change that perception to something that helps them understand like, wow, this helps me be a better human being. This helps me be more in my body, which, as we both know, our culture could benefit from greatly.
Most definitely.
So I take that deep as far as like who I am and what I believe in. And the way I can help now is because I've evolved from running my own practice and I've gotten into many other things professionally. But what I can offer now to help the massage therapist community is to help show them how to use technology in a little bit more efficient, more effective ways and eliminate that overwhelm so that they can help attract more clients who are probably good fits for getting on their tables.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. And how long did you practice? I'm sorry, or have you been practicing?
I started practicing in 2000. And then in 2008, I probably closed doors officially. I do keep one client, my lucky wife.
She's lucky.
Always working on her neck. She needs it. We both need it. But yeah, officially kind of closed the doors there and then started providing full service internet marketing services to health and wellness businesses around 2008.
Awesome. And that was a perfect time because that's when everybody was panicking because that's when the economy crashed, at least here in the US for our American colleagues here. And it's that was a time when it seems like a lot of people either had to shut their doors because of the economy or had things in place that sustained them through it, or just got lucky and were able to sustain through it. I know for me, I actually, I saw a dip, but I never lost a ton in 2008. And that was, and that whole like 2-3 year period where we were really struggling, really didn't hit as hard on my business, even though the local economy, especially we had several factories shut down and things right around that time. It really took a big hit. And so I think the digital, that's when I started to realize that a digital presence is actually kind of important and that, I no longer had these factories to go to. I didn't have the health fairs and I didn't have the stuff to be able to go to market like I had, the old school way, which was my normal way. And so that was actually kind of at the same time that I took the shift of like, okay, I have to get online and I have to have a website and I have to, start to piece stuff together. So explain why you think, especially now, a digital footprint is so important for massage therapists when we were kind of old school and a lot of us still are in that essence. Why do you think it is so important?
Yeah, well, let's do a little show and tell. I'm not going to officially do it, but if I press this home button, I say, "Hey Siri, massage near me." Oh, Siri's wanting to talk to me. Didn't mean to do that. But consumers, and I use that term lightly. Let's just talk about them as potential clients. They're using technology to help them find the next service or the next product that they're going to invest in. And so that's why I just think it's really important to have what I like to call digital footprints, an online presence, so that the people that are using technology to find your services, you'll at least show up. That's, nuts and bolts. That's why I think it's important.
Okay. Well, like you said, it's, it's everybody looks at stuff on their phone. Everybody, it's Google or sometimes Facebook searches and whatever. And that's, I guess, how we all get found now for the most part.
Yeah.
There's no more yellow pages.
Yeah, what's interesting, Savannah, is like a couple years ago, I think it's Facebook, evolved their services and they launched a feature, something about recommendations. And I just kind of laughed at it. I was like, who's gonna use that? And, when I check my Facebook feed, I do see a lot of people asking or using that feature to ask for recommendations. And I was like, okay, I was wrong.
Yeah.
and so like, I just, as much as I resist it and as much as I don't want technology to win, it continues to go forward. It continues to advance. And I think that we as practitioners do have to, stay up with the Joneses in a way, just so that we can keep getting more clients. It's super important.
Yeah. And I think too, a lot of people think that, oh, if I'm going to go digital, if I'm going to have the website and the Facebook page and I'm going to do all these, this tech part of business, then that means that I have to be like a complete convert to that side. And I think for a lot of people that's highly intimidating and overwhelming. But I also think it's kind of a misunderstanding of it, and that you can be, you don't have to be the most tech savvy. You can still have a website and have a digital presence and everything and market digitally without being always on tech. I still, regardless of everything I do that is online, I still, to this day, everything is in a written calendar. That is my life. If it is not written in there, it does not happen. I don't put things on my phone. I never put appointments on there. I might put the occasional reminder just so I have a physical alert to something. But other than that, I prefer paper for a lot of things. And so I think for some people, they need to understand that it's not like all or nothing. Like you have to be completely tech, savvy, and you got to basically go to a school and learn all of these components. But there are so many smaller facets that really do need to be done. So what is your kind of tip to help battle that overwhelm for people who are worried about, okay, well, I need a website and I got to worry about SEO and all these other components to everything digital when it comes to marketing? How do you explain to people to deal with that overwhelm?
Yeah, Savannah, that's actually a really good point, because technology is moving pretty fast and it's really easy to get overwhelmed, especially as practitioners, because ultimately we want to serve. I'm really kind of stereotyping, and I apologize for that. But I really do think that's an underlying intention of what we want to do. We want to serve, we want to make a living, and we want to do things that help us feel good. And so now, okay, yeah, I've got a practice to manage and I need to find clients. Now you're asking me to do all this work on a computer? Like, come on.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I did not get in to go to massage school to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really good question. And I don't know if there's an exact one, do this and you're good. But I will say, like, because there's options, you could probably find things that resonate with you, like as far as using tools online. Here's the metaphor. A lot of practitioners, they start at a base camp of massage school, and then they evolve into a specialization, whether that's craniosacral or manual lift drainage or something. So they keep specializing in something. Well, the metaphor of that is with using online technology, I would say start with a base camp of having a website, because even though it's not sexy anymore, a website still is kind of like that foundation, that fundamental thing that you have more control to put whatever information on there you want. And then from there, choose one other aspect that you find you resonate with. A lot of practitioners really are not comfortable with using video. So try to use something that would be more text-based, or something that would be a little bit more photo image based, if you're okay with that. So I like that acronym KISS, and it's not keep it simple, stupid. It's keep it simple, silly. and so I really gravitate towards that, and just say, keep KISS in mind, keep it simple, silly, and try to just choose one or two of your best ways to communicate as far as digital media. So then you're not overwhelming yourself.
Fantastic. And I think that you touched on a website being kind of, at least to me too, the quintessential piece to the puzzle of, it's kind of the defining thing. If people are going to find you online, they may or may not be on Facebook. They may or may not be on Instagram, but everybody can get to Google and and everybody can find your website, whether they, go through a search engine or they go through, just typing it in directly because they see it on your business card or a commercial or whatever. And it's funny because, we talked about yesterday when we were on a phone call that, I've helped people with their websites and such. And I see so many people that get stuck in that planning. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be, this, like, you're the next Amazon type of website. And it's like, just put it out there. Like, it's, a little bit is better than nothing. I mean, of course you want this great website, but it's better to have it, 50% of where you want it and it just be there than to not have anything at all.
Yeah, I tend to think of a website as kind of like our hairstyles. It's always evolving and changing.
True. Very
And
true.
so, although it's you can create a static website and you can choose not to touch it or edit it for 2-3 years. That still may serve you, because I think of a website as like a strong source of credibility. If you think about it, think about, the development of our relationship, Savannah, whoever, I think I reached out to you first.
Mm-hmm.
We went and looked at each other's websites, like you get a sense of like who the person is or who the company is, business, whatever it may be. And you also understand a little bit more deeper of like how they choose to do the work they do, what their values are, et cetera. And so I think a website still these days is a huge source of, like I said before, credibility, but also like a way to just help people understand more about the way you want to serve in this world.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic way to put it. And I almost see it kind of, and this is going to sound like a weird analogy, but kind of like dating. Like your website is the first meeting, that first, like, okay, we're getting to know each other a little bit. We're kind of, feeling each other out. And then social media and some of the other things are more of like, okay, here's where we get into some details and we get to know each other better. And we have some phone calls and we, that sort of stuff. But that website, it's like, if you don't have that, then all the other stuff, while it may help, it doesn't cover the basics. And that's what people are really looking for first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Number one answer they're trying to find on your website is like, can you solve my problem?
Exactly.
Whatever the problem may be. So yeah, it's easy. It's not necessarily easy. I know it's not easy. It's, you just have more flexibility and more freedom to communicate essentially the messaging you want to portray on your own website.
Fantastic. Who do you recommend? I know I'm kind of throwing this at you. This wasn't in our list, but who do you recommend for site building, just out of curiosity?
I like Wix. I like Wix specifically because I just think that as big as they are, they're always updating themes and updating like the way the features of the website work. My website is a WordPress website, but I'll share a brief story that really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth recently. It was through my hosting account, and they contacted me and said that my site had been hacked. And long story short, in order for me to resolve the issue, I needed to invest in a third-party service that would like sweep my files and get rid of the phishing files that whoever the spammer got access to.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, I can go into the back end of my website and I can remove the files myself. And they're like, no, you need to hire a third-party service. And I was like, okay. And they're like, yeah, it's either got to be this company or this company. And I was like, wait a minute, like
that's not how this works.
Yeah, I was like, so this kind of seems like, are you getting a kickback from this referral source? Like, what's going on here? I'm a little what's the right word? Skeptical. I'm really skeptical of this situation. And it ended up, the action I took was actually, I left the hosting company and opened up an account with a different hosting company. And I actually saved myself over $900 by doing that.
Wow.
And I was just like, I'm like, I love WordPress for, you know, what I can do to create with it. But for a practitioner who probably doesn't want to learn as much of the tech for it, I come back to, you know, a website, an already established website builder. And I speak to Wix because I compare it to Squarespace and I compare it to Weebly, and all three are great. All three of are fantastic. But I just see Wix like a little bit leading the charge with like the way design can evolve, and how, you know, a lot of people are judging books by their covers, websites by their covers. And so when the design of something is updated or modern or looking a little bit quote unquote fresh, that really helps the potential client, you know, see it as like, oh, this could be fun, this could be great. However, the way your branding works and the work that you do, whatever message you're trying to portray. So long answer, but I would say Wix.
All right. Well, and good, because it's funny because, you know, I mean, you've got your experience with them and everything, and everybody's got different ideas of, you know, what works and all that good jazz. But it's important, I think, to like look at the big picture, and that there are all of these different facets to it. And there's all these different companies you can go with, and you really just have to figure out exactly what you want out of somebody. So for me, like when I built my website, I needed something quite complex. So WordPress was the way to go because I needed all that customization ability. Yeah, that's the word.
Works.
So that works. So I needed that sort of customization and that kind of detail and all these different moving parts. Whereas I tell people, you know, if whether you go with, you know, Wix or Squarespace or Weebly, or you go with WordPress, because WordPress now has several theme options that are drag and drop. They're front end design sort of thing. So they've actually shifted because I think that competition from all these drag and drop site builders has kind of put their feet to the fire. But it's like, no matter who you go through, it's like really as a practitioner, you just need an informational website. You just need something up there that has some pretty pictures, has a good design, and has your information and what you're trying to portray to your clients. And it's really not nearly as complex and scary as a lot of people make it out to be. I mean, I know when I started, it was so intimidating. It was so scary, this idea of building a website, because I had no tech experience whatsoever. And I went to these companies and they were like, it's going to be 10 grand to build a website like you want. And I was like, I cannot spend 10 grand on this. So I watched YouTube videos and figured out WordPress, and that's pretty much, you know, all she wrote. But a lot of people don't want to invest that time and don't want to do all that. And so there is no shame in just going with a pre-done template and, you know, use some of your own photos or, you know, any of that stuff and making it your own a little bit. But those drag and drop sites for somebody who just needs an informational site, like most massage therapists, I think they're perfect.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So your story is pretty amazing, Savannah, because you actually finished what you aimed to accomplish. I've had so many conversations with practitioners who what happens is it seems like they get stuck. And to elaborate, they see that somehow they've made up their mind, okay, I now need a website or I need something digitally. And then they look at one of two options. Do I hire somebody or do I do it myself? And they get in this stuck place because they say, well, if I hire somebody, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
So that takes me out of, you know, we'll take that option out of the equation right now. Well, now it's up to me in order to create it. But I can't do that. You know, they limit themselves, saying like, I can't, I don't have the time to learn. I don't want to learn, whatever the situation is for them. So now they take that option out. So what happens? Nothing. They just kind of don't do anything. And that's, you know, that's where I saw an opportunity to serve the massage therapy industry, because I was like, well, what if there was something there that showed you exactly what to do, and it was at a price that was within your budget? And that's where I was like, okay, I need to create this. One, I'll feel really good about myself for helping and giving back, because I could go into hours and hours about how becoming a massage therapist practitioner helped me become a better person, period. Totally amazing things happening in school and outside of school. But then, you know, having evolved and having gotten into technology, I was like, hey, I still have a heart for people in this industry. how can I help them? And that's where I was like, okay, this is what I got to do.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. And I think, you know, when we look at the tech side of things, you know, we talk about the sheer overwhelm with it, and the idea of piecing together a website is overwhelming. There's a lot. You've got hosting companies, and how do you get a domain, and how do you, you know, sign up for these things? So you break that down for people, right? And you know, have this these classes about, you know, how to go about that, and the SEO and all the stuff with it. So tell us a little bit about, you know, where people can find you, what exactly those things entail, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So what I really like about the work you're doing, Savannah, is you shared with me a little bit of your vision, and our visions are congruent. And we both want to see almost like an online school to help practitioners succeed in their practices. Now, when you think of a school, what comes along with school, a curriculum and coursework and students. And so it'll be interesting to see, as you know, as our professional relationship evolves, like what happens with your school, what happens with my school, and maybe even the schools combined. I don't know, but right now I decided, like, because the technology is probably one of the more scariest things for practitioners in our industry. Let me do some hand holding. Let me hold your hand throughout the process. So one, you don't pay too much money, and then two, you actually learn how to manage your own website. You'll feel good about it, etc. And then there's other aspects to an online presence. But I named the school Bodywork Business School, and I'm focusing primarily on promotion, the ways to market your practice, and obviously starting with technology. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm only actually a year into the online school, and it's got an exciting future. I feel really good about it. I love to teach, and that's where people can find, the website is bodyworkbusinessschool.com. I also blog. I like to share a lot of free information too, because sometimes people don't need a course. They just need like a tip.
Yeah.
And so if anybody wanted to Google Bodywork Business Pro, that would be the brand that I use to help share knowledge as far as business and technology skills in this industry.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing all your thoughts on everything. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or does that kind of sum up your take on technology for the day?
You know, I'll sum up in saying, Savannah, that, you know, a lot of times, like, as practitioners and business owners, there can be a lot of pressure to think big and have a massive vision, and that totally makes sense. We need to find time to be with that aspects of ourselves. But in addition to that, I will say, know that sometimes it's okay to also wear those goggles of tunnel vision, because you don't want to feel overwhelmed. And when you put on those funnels of tunnel vision, that helps you just focus on what the next step is. And that sometimes that's like right where you need to be, because otherwise you'll freeze, or you'll run, or you'll want to fight somebody when you don't need to fight somebody. These are the core human emotions, or the experiences that we deal with, the emotion of fear. And so overwhelm leads to fear. And so just know that when you are feeling that aspect of overwhelm, just take a deep breath, slow down, try to look at what's next for you. That's worked extremely well in the evolution of all the work that I've done since day one of like finishing massage school. And, you know, if anything, that's for everybody in the My Massage World community who's watching this, that's what I would love for you to take away the most, is just being okay with like knowing, hey, what's my next step?
Fantastic. And that's one thing I promote a lot too, is like, you know, when you set a goal, it's, yes, you need to reach for that goal, but there's all those small steps. And sometimes you just got to focus on what's the next step to get to the next one, to get to the next one, to get to the next one. And I think that's a perfect way to sum it up. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you guys again soon.